Hello again. So I'm back with another update on my 2006 Impala SS restoration project. Last month I got a little sidetracked on a couple of things. My water machine had a breakdown, needed repairs. My lawn tractor needed some work to get it ready to start cutting grass, and so it took me a little while to get back on track with the car. I've been away from it for a few weeks. So anyway, what you're looking at now is I've got the doors hung on the driver's side here, the left-hand side, and that is just temporary for fitting purposes. And the reason why, the thing I did here was I finished out this rocker panel on the left-hand side. There has been you don't see what's under it. What's on top of it now is this plastic beauty cover that finishes out the rocker, and that is mounted right now. And so what I've done is finished out the rocker. There's a skin that's welded on there. I'll have to show everybody what that looks like later on. You can't see it right now, but I had to devise a mounting method, and so it's mounted on there. And then so the next step is once I've got that rocker all fitted on there, something that hasn't been done until just now is an important step, is I have to hang the doors back in there just to check and see that everything fits. And the reason why is because as I've explained before, these inner rocker panels here, this has all been replaced. This is a new panel here, and the entire rocker inside and out has been completely dismantled and gutted out of there and replaced and repaired. And then so anyway, during that process, right behind the A pillar here, the whole darn thing was separated, plus the floor was separated, and these cross members were separated, all those welds, and this cross member, everything, trunk floor was all separated. And so what happened was the B pillar was hanging free, and it was completely separated from the A pillar. So any reference between these pillars that make the door openings would have been lost if not preserved, and I already knew that was going to be important. So I took steps to preserve the locations of that. And what happened was when this whole thing was separated, the B pillar sprung backwards, not a lot, but a fraction of an inch or so. It was at least a quarter of an inch, maybe 5/16 or so, but that's significant. That's enough to make or break you. If you if you don't preserve that and get it back right, it could make your door openings no longer fit right. So anyways, I took measures to preserve that. And so, when I had this all apart and welded it all back together, I was 99.9% certain there wasn't going to be a problem. But here's the thing, you're not 100% certain until you take those doors and you set them back in place and you just double check, make sure that everything's fitting, because, even at this point right now, as much as I've done, if it turned out those doors didn't fit, well, that would be a major setback. I would be in real deep doo-doo if I had to undo all of this stuff because something wasn't fitting right in here. So I had to get my work right to begin with. So I was pretty sure it was right. But here's the other thing is, you don't know you're 100% right till you put it in there. And suppose I had just gone ahead and trusted myself and everything, and then finished out this whole body shell and got it finished, painted and everything, and then I find out when I go to hang the doors on there, they're not hung on there permanently right now. They're just hung on there real quick, temporary, with a couple of bolts. But suppose I'm ready to go assemble this whole darn thing and it's all finished out, and then I find there's a problem. And so that would be even worse. So, now is the time before you take any further steps. So that check's been made, and you can see one of the things you're looking for is just a nice even margin all the way around there, and there's a gap. There's about a 1-inch gap all the way around, and that's where the the rubber weather strip, it it rides like a tongue and groove on this pinch weld there. And then so what you're looking for is everything fits really nice, but more importantly, that's what it looks like from the inside. But more importantly, you get the doors situated so they're not finish installed, but they're close, and you're checking gaps. Make sure all your gaps, everything matches up, lines up, looks nice, and everything. And so it does. It's and I expected it to, but now I'm absolutely sure. It all looks like it's supposed to when I throw those doors up there, and it goes up next to that rocker panel, and everything looks like it's supposed to look. So there you go. And like I said, I had to devise a mounting method for that beauty cover. Here's the beauty cover from the other side, and I have not done the other side yet. The other side is so I'm just doing one side at a time. But the way these things mount OEM, you have these plastic push-in clips, look just like these here, and this front part, this snaps into the bottom of the fender, and starting right here, they snap into the rocker. Well, that mounting method has been completely it cannot be used. There's because of what I did things my own way and devised my own my own repair for that rocker panel that will not allow. I'm just not going to be able to use these clips, so I had to come up with a better idea, and another idea, something that's going to work, and something that I think is better. There, it's all mounted with threaded stainless steel screws, so everything's threaded fasteners. And what I cooked up is I got a whole bunch of these. These are stainless steel. This is all stainless. These washers here. This started out as a round fender washer, but I ground flats on it to make it into a, you can just see where I ground. I have to take a whole bunch of these, take them to the bench grinder, and grind them into this shape. And then you've got these Allen head. These are stainless machine screws. And then so you take that and you get yourself a whole bunch of this black adhesive putty, this dum-dum putty, which this stuff, I've been using this stuff for a long time for various things. Where I got this from, there's a number of places you can get it from, but where I got this from, this is actually repurposed. This is a piece of sound deadening. The car is loaded with this stuff. They just slap it in places everywhere where there's a piece of resonant sheet metal, and they just slap this on there. And this is just like, it's real heavy aluminum foil, and it's coated on the inside with that black dum-dum putty. And this stuff is like a semi-permanent adhesive. It sticks and it stays stuck for good, and it doesn't come loose with temperature extremes or nothing. This stuff it's got 1,001 uses. I use it all the time for all kinds of stuff. I've had little plastic trim pieces that are held on with delicate little clips, and they broke, and then there's no way to fix the darn thing. There's no way to get a new one, and you got to put it back together. And you can take a wad of this stuff, just like chewing gum or something, and stick it in there and put it back together, and it just holds. I've got things that like interior things that I custom made, and there's no way you got to like set a little panel in place or something, and there's nothing there to mount it to. There's no place where you can make holes or anything, but there's flat surface where you can use adhesive, and you just stick it on there with this putty, and it stays put. So anyways, yeah, I could go on and on, but I got lots of uses for this putty. Oh yeah, another thing is if you've got a fastener that you've got to put in a socket and fish it in on the end of a long extension. Anybody who's worked on cars knows a lot of different ways to do that, but I like to take a little bit of this dum-dum and put it on the head of the bolt or on the inside edge of the socket, and it'll just stick that fastener right on the end of there so you can fish it into place, and then and then when you're done tightening it, this stuff stays soft. It never hardens, but it's really sticky. And so it just grabs stuff and hangs onto it for you if you need something. If you need something to hang on. So anyway, I put a gob of putty on the inside of that, and what I'll do is I'll also gob up some putty on the inside of this fastener of this this screw, so it'll all kind of stay together as a unit. And then you take the whole darn thing and you just kind of slide it in there like that, and there you go. But you get the idea. That washer's behind there, and that putty's in there, so that putty holds that thing. And the thing is, it'll still move. So even though the putty's hanging onto it, you can still turn it and move it, but it'll stay there. And then what I've done is I have drilled into on my inner rocker, my homemade inner rocker, which is and I'll show you over here. Grabbing a light. Yeah, so my homemade inner rocker. Well, you can see it. But yeah, my homemade inner rocker. This is just a hunk of heavy structural tubing. It's 2x4 tubing by 1/8 inch wall thickness. It runs the entire length of the inside of the rocker panel, and it's thick. So it's thick enough that you can drill holes in there and tap threads, and that's exactly what I did. So in order to, well, first I had to weld a skin across the top of there to finish it out. I'll go into more detail about that later, maybe in another video when I have this off of there. But yeah, what I did was all across here, there's threaded holes drilled to correspond with these locations, and then in order to access the head of that bolt there, you can get in there with an Allen wrench. By what I had to do was drill a hole. You see how this rubber seal that mates up with the bottom edges of the door, well, that is held in there with little push clips, so you can take that off, and it'll just expose that surface in there. So if you look in there, I haven't done this one yet, but what I did in there was drill a hole. I drill a hole. The hole, you see how these holes here, these are for the little push clips. Well, I put another hole right there so I can put an Allen wrench through there and turn this screw, and it's kind of held. It's kind of semi-held but movable by the putty, and I can get an Allen wrench in there. And so there's holes drilled that are threaded, and they go all across here. And so this thing is fastened. That beauty cover is now fastened to the rocker reinforcement, my homemade one. And then so that's when I figured I got that all fitted up, and now it's time to make sure that the doors and everything, they all turn out looking like they're supposed to look. And this is just for fitting check, and they're going to come back off, and I'll finalize everything. And I also put the liners, the tub liners, and checking. There's my stainless studs, mounting studs that hold that up in there, and there's a nut that you can't see right there, but there's a stainless nut for a fastener there, and this is going to look better once there's going to be two places where I am going to use a clip here because there's no way to get a threaded fastener there, so I'm going to have one clip there, and it's in there right now. And then up here, I'm not sure what I want to do, but I think I'm going to rig up a threaded fastener here because the hole does go to the inside, but right now there's nothing there. But when that's fastened down, it's going to look like that. It's going to look like it's supposed to. So anyways, that's the, I don't know, that's kind of like the long and short of that. I have, look inside of here. It's just holding that there temporary, and then where I where I finished out. There's you can't see it, but there's a big, long, nasty weld. I guess you could see it on the other side. If I go over to here. Because this side hasn't been done yet, and you can see where I just cut the skin off, and right here where I cut, well, that's right where that beauty cover lands, right there. So there's a weld there, and I added more skin that just goes down to the bottom. And there's the skin for the other side that I've already prepared. You know, and it's got the shape and everything. So that's a hunk of 20 gauge sheet metal that I had, that I have already pre-cut and bent to the shape so it can go in there. And then I have to weld all the way across there, and I already did that on the other side. And then so that weld's got to be finished out. And then there's two places up here. There's a seam here where this whole thing, there's a weld here, a weld there, a weld there. And this side's got 3 welds. The other one's just got weld here and here. No, I think it's like weld here, and it doesn't have this. This side is different because it had some rust in there. This piece I had to make. This is original, reconditioned, going from here to here, and then from here to here, and goes all the way across here, you know, into this zone where the welds are, and comes all the way across. That was homemade, and that was because the thing was rusty in there, and so I was unable to save it and had to replace it. And then, so anyway, you can see that contour there matches up with that skin right there, and that's got a, so I already did this on the other side, welded this all the way across like that, and then so that's all got to be finished out with filler and made straight and smooth and nice and even, so that you know, because the top of that beauty cover comes right there. That's right where it is. And I had to cut it right up to that line because everything, the OEM skin went down and wrapped around. Well, I don't need that now. My new homemade skin just comes down to here and stops. And, you know, I'll go into that, how I'm going to, later on, how I'm going to finish that out with urethane foam and then caulk. But it only needs to go down to here and stop. And then the holes are, you know, like I told you, they're along in here. They're up closer to the top, and then there's holes on the bottom too. And same thing, they're drilled and tapped for threaded screws. And then so anyway, you know, this has got to be finished out with mud and everything, and so that's all done. And then the thing is too, there's some warpage that's going to happen all along here, and so that's got to be finished out too. That with all that welding and the heat and everything, it's unavoidable, and you can't. Once that skin is on there, you can't get in there from underneath and punch it out of there either. You just kind of have to live with it and finish it out. So anyway, that's what I did in there. So you can see that's why there's some filler in here, and there's filler all along in here where this has all been made straight and true, and finishes that out in here again. By the way, this is a pretty cool feature. These reinforcement bars, they put that in there for crash safety. And there's a striker right here, and it mates to a plate that engages that striker right here. So when the door is closed, the lock, you know, that's right up here. The lock that you open and close with the door handle, that's right here, and engages the door here. But then that crash bar, that reinforcement bar, it's a piece of structural tubing that's you know, that's from GM. They put that in there, and so anyway, that tubing comes across in there and mates there, and that's just for more crash safety. And then me and my my heavyweight frame member I put in there, that's just gonna made up with everything and give me even more crash safety. So I'm going to close this up, and I put this magnet on here that just kind of holds it flush there and just gets it so it's sitting right about where I want it. Probably too much there. I don't know. It'll be fine. All right. Anyway, then this clamp was holding that. And see what I got going in there. And like I said, there's weld there that's been finished out. And you see these two different colors. The dark blue stuff is Duraglass, and then the lighter stuff is regular Bondo. And you use the Duraglass for the primary base coating because it's stronger, it's waterproof. But the thing that it can't do, you see how this stuff feathers out. This Duraglass can't feather out. That's why you have to finish with the regular Bondo. But the regular Bondo is not as strong. It's not waterproof, and so you always put down the Duraglass first, go over it with the other stuff that finishes out and feathers. And, you know, everywhere I had a low spot and warpage, you just fill that in. And so there's a weld there, went across, that's been finished out, and another weld there, went across, that's been finished out. And, you know, yeah, I got my magnet test, you know, like here's a refrigerator magnet, a little hunk of magnet here, but like just to prove a point. If you put that on, that magnet's hanging on. You probably can't see it, but it's hanging on. If this was vertical, it would hang on. You can see how it kind of snatched it. Snatched it. I don't know. But yeah, take it from me. Not trying to kid anybody. That's it's the thickness is not excessive. So to still grab a magnet there, and you know. I'll have to be honest here, though. Right here is probably, it's not really going to hold. There's a little bit of thickness there. I had to hammer that down, and so yeah, it's probably a little bit thicker than a magnet can hold right there. Went right up to the limit. Over here, yeah, it'll hold that, you know. And you know, it's just to prove a point that just because you got a little Bondo don't mean a magnet ain't going to stick to it. It's if the magnet don't stick to it, it's excessive. So. But hey, nobody's going to come and mess with this. Nobody's going to look at this. It's not like it's out here or anything. And yeah, nobody's going to care. Nobody's ever going to know. So that's the whole idea is to just, you know, you try to make the work look as undetectable as possible. So anyway, you know, you can see where I finish that out, where that weld runs all the way across there, and it's right underneath where this beauty cover mates up, and it all has to be straight and true so that beauty cover matches up to it and it looks like it's supposed to. It can't be all lumpy, and it's not, and it's all finished out. So that's the reason why I hung these doors in there after I mounted up the beauty cover and made sure this stuff all fits right, so it's all going to look right. So the next step is doors and everything. This is all coming back off. And, you know, it's ready to be finished out completely. And after I get to the other side and do the same thing over there, because the same thing happened over there where I had locations. Everything was dismantled, had locations I had to preserve. So after I get the beauty cover on the rocker, I get the rocker skin finished out, get the beauty cover mounted so it's looking good, and then I'm going to hang the doors on that side, check them, make sure everything looks perfect. And then from there, I'll be able to just finish out this body shell. Yeah, and here's that crash bar on the front door. And you know, that's factory, and it does not have its own striker, so it comes out like down here. It you know, the door lock is right here, and that bar ends like, you know, like right there. And so they decided, I don't know, GM just decided for whatever reason they weren't going to put an extra striker right there. But that's the way they did it. So they got their reasons, and they crash test these things, and then so yeah, I've got some here. There's repairs here that have to be done too. There's the bottoms of these doors. You can see all that rust. So even though it looks from the outside, you'd never know anything was wrong. From the outside, it looks clean. But yeah, these doors will that's all going to have to be cut off of there, and I'm going to have to weld new metal all on there. And so yeah, that's after I get the body shell finished out. And there's this door here. This door here is pretty good, really. There's not much of anything wrong with this door, so they don't all look like that one. There's a tiny little bit of rust there, but I probably won't have to do any kind of cutting and welding in there. And I don't know. I think maybe the front doors are the worst ones on both sides. I got to look them all over again. So anyway, yeah, that's how that goes. And so yeah, like I say, I'll be able to take these doors off of here and put them away, and then go around to the other side, finish that rocker up, and do the same thing. And yeah, here's where I put in the vinyl, the plastic splash shields that mount in here, and there's a spot where I made a threaded fastener to hold this instead of push clips. This is all going to be held with threaded fasteners, and all this stuff has to be checked. The mounting point to the fender and everything, it's all got to be checked to make sure all that stuff goes together right. Because like you've probably already seen before, if you've been following this frame rail totally replaced. This support wing over here is totally new, hand fabricated by me, and this wheel tub assembly was all cut out of there and removed and completely dismantled, deconstructed, reconditioned, welded back in there. So just making sure, got to make sure all this stuff fits together, and it's all good. So yeah, I gotta take these emblems off, and and then so I'll be able to finish out all this body work. There's there's dings in these doors too. There's a nasty ding right there. That happened in the winter time. I got hit with a piece of ice from an oncoming truck going down a 2-lane highway, and a hunk of ice fell off the undercarriage and just came careening at me, and I went over with my front wheel. It damaged the tire. It put a lump in the tire, like a belt separation lump, made the tire roll lumpy, and then and I mean, this was a long time ago too. This was like over a decade ago this happened, and it put a nasty gash right there, and I just put some touch-up paint on it, and it's all dinged in, and I got to fix that. And it actually it scuffed the plastic on this too, and I got to kind of smooth that out and fix that. And then there's a nasty little ding right here too. I had a little mishap, and I did that. It's like hey, Joe Biden, I did that. So yeah, this is my own stupid carelessness here. And while I got this door out and all stripped, I'll be able to fix that too and get that looking right. And yeah, so that's the progress for now. And anyway, I guess that'll do it for now. So thanks for watching, and so long.